TA, another one that you kind of need to deal with. There's also Razor still in the pool as well. Just makes Lifestealer's life horrible in the later stages. So yeah, there are a few that Nemiga are going to have to deal with this banning phase.
What, they need a tower sieger. You're not really forced to go like ranged or melee just because Bane with how he's able to play the lane. So you do have multiple avenues to go down. Centaur can start, Invoker can kind of start fights as well. So it's not like, I don't think they're too pigeonholed into requiring a lot out of this last pick. I think it just needs to be a pretty heavy physical damage dealing carry, and preferably someone that can go Scardy and doesn't mind about being kited by coil. Kite is not the right word, sorry. Just like if you're a high mobility hero, then and if you're leashed in coil like a sniper or a drow, that's a big issue for people to get on top of you. Like prime heroes who don't care about that is. Ursa would look pretty decent. I'm concerned about just the objective taking though, if they go down that route.
I suppose, but like Nemiga's high ground isn't amazing. As long as you're able to take out the puck, I think you're generally okay with things.
Like their high ground defense, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. They do definitely struggle with being able to defend. Yeah, I could.
Same issue that you would suffer though. That they might just razor them. You know, if NoSorry picks up the Ursa, they might just get razored into. Off lane, not the greatest, but again, you have a Centaur to deal with, so it's not fantastic.
I feel like I mean the Viper Doom ban is like, all right, you kind of got to get rid of TA. Like Doom's always nice versus Invoker. Centaur can be pretty valuable as well to take out of a fight, but yeah, you're not going to have Dream back into the Templar Assassin. They won't have all 5 of the same heroes, but TB is definitely still one of those options. I wonder if the
TB, Ursa, PA are the ones that I'm looking at.
I was going to mention PA as well, just because the Viper may be protecting with that break. So, yeah, I like those 3.
Dire team pick.
Cool. Very good. Now we are looking for a offlaner on Nemiga.
Is it Underlord? I feel like there aren't many offlaners that are going to do a good job against the Terrorblade and be able to bully him out. Like, the Viper is certainly a lane winner against the Terrorblade. Of course, TB just stomps you in the later stages, but I mean, what else do they really have that can just look to continuously run at this Terrorblade? Because you've got a pretty decent pairing with the Monkey King, right? For a solid amount of damage and burst potential and slows.
I don't know how you would put Dawn in this category of being able to deal with the TB.
Yeah, I think you can. Gives you a little bit of that save as well if you've really got those Zoomer fingers for the Skywrath Bane combo.
I'm intrigued to see how much they're going to be reliant on Puck to start fights. Like if they feel like they need another hero to be able to initiate. They do already have one Infest Bomb. You can never go wrong with a second. Because there are multiple heroes on NoSorry that kind of need to be killed off. The first 3 that have been picked, your Bane, Sky, and Invoker. Interesting. I mean, it's a very good matchup versus the TB in the lane. Centaur does nothing versus you. You're very good versus Fiend's Grip as well. It's a pretty good Tide game. Like, I'm looking at more.
They just need to get rid of, like, Ancient Seal onto the Tide and then ignore him is basically the plan that they're going for. But you got other heroes that need to be Ancient Sealed, like the Puck, for example. Still like NoSorry's draft, though.
I favor it slightly more as well. I think this Tide definitely helps out with a lot of the issues they had. Gives them more team fight. It's a good lane versus the Terrorblade. A little bit of amp as well for your life sealer. You probably go down the Scepter this game, I imagine, for Vajra as the game goes later.
But it is just going to eventually get to this point where, like, what can you do against the Terrorblade at all? Like, if it gets to 35 minutes, I'd say this game is just no sorries for the taking unless they make a really poor move.
That's a really good call. Yeah, I agree with that. Do you feel like then Nemiga have a lineup, especially with this tied last pick, because he can be a little bit more, like he doesn't really help you a tempo lineup, so do you feel like Nemiga have what it takes just to close this out before the TB is really that raid boss?
That's probably what's leaning me a little bit more towards NoSorry, to be honest. I think obviously Tide is a really good hero in the right draft, but I just feel like they don't have enough tempo to be able to take control of the game. And we saw in their game number 1, I'm pretty sure NoSorry won every single lane. And they've got the same matchup in mid, and they've got a pretty, I don't want to say equivalent matchup with the Lifestealer and the Enchantress. It's a whole lot stronger than, what was it, Pugna Alchemist that they had to deal with previously. So maybe things are going to be a little bit better for the Nemiga safe lane, but I'm still not confident, but I'm still favoring NoSorry.
Yeah, I'll give him a slight edge. Again, like you mentioned, the main thing kind of gravitating me towards NoSorry is really this late game Terrorblade. I feel like they are going to have an issue with dealing with. But also anything can happen late game with the double Ravage straight on the dome. Although I guess the damage could be the concern. You're going to be...
You can lock them down for as long as you want, but if you don't have the damage to be able to... Maybe this is the game for Malrine to get the Revenant's Brooch. It's against the TB. Very good item against the TB. Last game, not so much.
Yeah, we didn't really see... didn't see the Revenant's Brooch doing too much. Azure? Someone's in a awkward position. Someone pinged out that ward on the high ground. I'm not sure if it was Dire or not.
The battle begins.
Looks like we will have a 2-2 split. Nothing crazy. In regards to the bounties. So, is there... I mean, we got mid lane both the same. We'll just go over this really briefly. I think, again, we're going to be looking towards the rotations coming through from the Bane in the Sky, kind of around the 5 minutes. Maureen has the Enchantress that can also rotate as well. I mean, you're playing with a Lifestealer who's a very self-sufficient carry, so should enable So Bad to get a little bit more active early on.
I also wonder if this is really the game for Invoker to actually get the full Spirit Vessel. It's nowhere near as much value as it was in the previous. I think just the Urn would be fine, but clearly if Manic has a comfort way of building it, I'm not an Invoker specialist, so just let him do his thing. But, you know, Lifestealer has the Rage, Tidehunter's just going to crack and show it off. Puck, Urn's going to do just as much as a Spirit Vessel, so we'll see what he ends up actually doing.
So this top lane for Last Hero is going to be pretty decent, honestly. He's got a very big last hit advantage over the Lifestealer. 76, is it? Oh no, it's 8 now. I thought it was down to 6. So, alright, 78 with the Quelling Blade. Kiritich on 62. So yeah, Last Hero should have a pretty good time being able to out-CS Kiritich. And I think the way they win this lane is really actually off So Bad being able to zone out Yond with the kind of summons. But man, Kiritich is taking a beating with that Hoof Stomp.
Honestly, even a little surprised that he went the Nature's Attendants at level 1. Like, So Bad is in a position where he can deal a crap ton of damage into Yond. He's got the Blightstone. Sky already has very poor armor to be able to begin with, so he just really
Mid lane, hang on, Malrine.
Keep him pressured away.
He's jaunted onto the tower for this kill on Manic, but just out of range. Okay, Manic was able to get some distance with the Tornado, and Orian's okay with the extra crew coming through.
Crazy lad.
You shall not.
Oh, he ends up taking 2 tower hits as well. I've heard people complaining that redirecting tower aggro is kind of broken.
Oops.
Death on the bot side. In the last couple of days or so, like, you can A-click a creep and it doesn't actually switch the aggro. So I wonder if that's what affected Malrine there.
Goddamn beta game. What can we say? Just waiting for Dota 3 to come out. Soon, my brothers. We don't have to wait too long. Big kill though for
Singapore TI can be announced.
Oh, let's go. Let us go. It's a big kill though for NoSorry to find. First use of the meta. Able to bring down the Monkey King for first blood. So Dream did get that gold as well. So it's going to have a very early treads completed. Did he go with the gold? Abandoned boots. Archangel should go down, venturing a little bit too far in the lane. He's going to be the Bane. Definitely a scary lane to play into. Double melee, but the gush of the bow and the strike can allow them to close the distance very easily.
I do kind of wonder if this is the wise choice on the top side as well, to be able to, like, Sobat is pressuring the Centaur a lot. Nice body blocks coming out, though, by the Harpy Scout, but you really should be going for the Skywrath. Like, he is the one that's going to be taking more damage. You're just getting retaliated on. He's almost got the Ring of Health, so any kind of damage is just going to be completely ineffectual.
Yep. You just got to target down Mr. Yond. And we saw bottom lane, Hellscream.
A lot of damage.
Yeah, they don't think Archangel will be able to get in range for the Nightmare. Hellscream's going to be able to get out of harm's way. Meanwhile, by this top power rune, Melreen finding the bottle. So at least it'll be a 2 for 2, but of course Manic not having the capability to refill his own bottle, I should say. It does look like it's relatively even at the moment. Nothing crazy. Again, looking for the support rotation to come out in the next minute or so.
And without that first blood, it's just going to mean a much slower urn that eventually comes out for Manic.
Gonna be in a bit of trouble top lane here. Kiritich with the level 4. Rage soon to expire, but he's doing a really good job to kite the stump. Important though for Nemiga, you mentioned that they needed to body the Centaur. Meanwhile, mid lane Melreen might go for the dive. He's got the orb back up. Should be off the mark though. Manic again getting some distance thanks to the Tornado.
Denied.
Of money, maybe actually a little bit short, to be able to buy the urn for himself. And, well, actually Invoker realizing that, well, there's not going to be any rotations happening in the next little bit. It's more important to secure the Centaur up on that top side, probably up to the level 5, maybe even 6.
We've got some brawling going on bottom lane. Dream with the second Metamorphosis. They should get the kill onto Vajra. Now they can also get Hellscream. Archangel holding the Nightmare at the last second, so Dream can close the distance, surrounding the Monkey King. Doesn't even have a level in the tree dance, and one more right click from Archangel will secure a double kill. So this bottom lane is going incredibly well for NoSorry. Mid lane coils out as well.
Lots of rotations happening.
Manic. Yon's going to TP in with the Ancient Seal. Even Archangel's going to try and step in as well, but Melreen able to get the orb away at the last second. Meanwhile, Sobat putting attention onto Manic, but does not have the damage to solo kill off the Invoker.
One of those uphill misses, though. Like, it was actually crazy. With the Cold Snap, of course. Just getting a little bit unlucky. The damage getting through onto Melreen. We'll see who's lucky with the Power Rune spawn. And
regen.
I get the puck.
Sobat's going to get a solo kill. See if he should be able to catch out. Tornado nicely placed. Ooh. Just clips onto the Enchantress. So the Skywrath Mage is able to get out of harm's way.
Generations are fortified.
How deep does Hellscream dive is the question that I want the answer to. It's like they might be looking to go onto Hell Manic here.
They have detection? They do indeed.
Yep.
Sticking the raindrop might be enough. He's going to eat the orb close to the T2 tower, though. He's got Tornado back up shortly. They need one more right click. And they will get it, but maybe it comes at the cost of Melreen's life. Archangel trying to get the vision, and he does. Observer Ward placed from the Bane, but it helps secure the kill. Beautifully done. Hang on.
Just letting the tier 2 tower do the work. Yeah, he really wants to make sure that they're not giving away too much of this map control, of course. This is all around the timing where the siege creep is still up at 7 minutes. That's how the lane has been manipulated. But yeah, you really can't afford to be dying with tier 2 tower at the 7-minute mark as a puck. Only 3 armor.
Quickly want to mention, this is a really cool play from Kiritich, dragging the enemy's creep wave to the hard cam. What this is going to do is put his own creeps under the tier 1 tower, and this just won't hold that thought. Bottom lane, Dream ravages out from Vajra. Stampede might be enough so Dream can get some distance, and a Manic. That's a huge tornado. But the damage, they don't have it in the arsenal just yet from NoSorry, so all of Nemiga step out, but you keep the Terrorblade alive and you get nothing out of the Ravage.
Very, very nice movement coming through from the Skywrath. Honestly, it's a little bit lucky. He was making the smoke down there to try and get a kill onto that lane, but it just ends up being in the right place at the right time to reduce the damage enough with that silence.
Gotcha. You have the 8-minute power runes coming up shortly though. See already Hellscream's in a position.
Radiant's courier
Secure
has
that for the
been
puck.
killed.
Always going to be important. Nemiga, they have a mid laner. Going to utilize these power runes much more effectively over a invoker. So I like kind of the emphasis we've seen from them so far.
Does have that urn available now on the invoker, so wondering if Skywrath is going to look to make a play around him. As for right now, looks like he just wants to soak up a little bit more of that experience and prevent this tower from being pushed in by the Tidehunter.
Last Hero might be in a bit of trouble. They have a coil to be able to cancel any threat of a TP. And Boundless Strike as well, just in case he looks to break the coil. So really nicely done. It's going to cost them 4 heroes to rotate to the Centaur. They are a little bit too late with this smoke on NoSorry. So that's the second death of the game actually for Last Story.
But you just, like, look at the net worth that Kiritich has got, though. You were mentioning before a lot of those little lane tricks that he was going for will, of course, suffer. I mean, man, Archangel is already up to level 6. Just able to get out in time. What was the vision like? Oh, they might have just been on that right side next to the tier 1 tower on the top side to be able to scout them out there. We'll see the Bane try and convert into the jungle.
Can they don't have a way to be able to break the tree. At least they'll keep their Observe Ward alive. They're connecting a little bit more awkwardly in this second game here on NoSorry. 4 heroes starting to move to mid to try and bring down Hellscream. They don't get the Infest off though. Great reactions from Yon. Instant Sun to prevent Kiritich from getting that bonus health away. We've seen it. It's definitely not... NoSorry haven't been able to replicate their success in the early game like we saw in game 1 though.
Sky doesn't have a TP, otherwise they would really be looking to make a play around this mid tower right now on NoSorry. You've got the urn charges, you've got that 10-minute siege creep wave coming, and Sky was previously using his courier to be able to skite out that high ground next to their triangle. So it does feel like a little bit of an opportunity missed, of course, with Dream. You do have the potential for the Metamorphosis to be pumping into the towers, getting a lot of map control for yourself. He's just standing here trying to trade farm with a Tidehunter, though. They might still go for it.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Yep. Offensive glyph being used just to protect that creep wave. Keep the siege creep alive as long as possible. Oh, in the backline. Yeah. Archangel nearly able to get that Fiend's Grip off.
It's always going to be difficult, though, with Hellscream being nearby. Nice deny.
Very nice.
Tower has been denied.
And Dream's already got the Dragon Lance. I guess Vajra's also getting a lot of farm as well. I think this is Hood completed on the Tidehunters. Lacking a little bit of mana for a fight to break out. And well, Dream actually doesn't want to stick around. So he's going to TP up the top. I mean, they do have the advantage, but they're already taking mid lane. NoSorry are 1 step ahead. So they can look to trade side towers. And I think that's going to be the case.
Yeah. Both cores literally TP'd at the exact same time. So... just basically being on the same wavelength in terms of what it actually means for their farming and pushing potential. Of course, with the tier 1 tower removed from Nemiga, means that NoSorry, they're the ones that are going to be looking to get a little bit more active in this next little bit of time. Although, it's not to say that the mid tier 1 tower isn't pretty low for NoSorry either.
You might have to TP the Centaur in. With how low this tower is, you kind of need him to stand in front. Oh, he's going to farm instead. So this tower's going to end up going down. It's a lot of emphasis from NoSorry to rotate 3 heroes and won't even be successful at keeping it alive.
A lot of people are saying in recent times, like, oh, why is Dire win rate so much stronger, yada, yada, yada. A lot of it is around that mid-tier 1 tower. It just feels so much safer for Dire to be able to take mid-tier 1 because you've got the cover of the trees, you've got... the high ground ward a lot closer by, so it just feels so much more difficult for any support to come up and try and remove that vision. Anyone that walks there would have just been dead. And
blame Lost Hero
anyway.
He's already down to half health, and they should be able to get the kill. There's nothing the Stampede can do, so again, Centaur going down for the 3rd time this game is really struggling. It's not the game 1 performance like we saw out of Last Hero, so it's a bit of a concern because that's exactly what you mentioned that Nemiga need to do. They had to shut down the offlaner on NoSorry.
Yeah, and I also mentioned, like, it's going to be easier, right? It's not an Alchemist Pugna lane who basically have zero synergy together, not the strongest lane. Lifestealer, Enchantress, much, much stronger. So, obviously, the net worth differential is much more in the Lifestealer's favor, and we can see what that's resulting in.
Illusion.
Still will have that Blink Dagger in about 300 gold, though, and of course, that is probably the big area that they're lacking right now on NoSorry, that way to start a lot of these teamfight engagements, especially during the daytime. Like, once it gets nighttime, it becomes a little bit easier, provided that your vision is good. But most of the time, people are going to be able to get away, you know, pop the Rage, blink away on the puck. Sorry, orb away on the puck.
It's a really hefty net worth lead, though, that Nemiga have been able to build up to 3,000 now. Even the Lifesteal is top of the net worth over Dream. This should... I mean, Dream, as he gets a little bit more items, especially Manta, should be able to farm multiple camps at once. Bottom lane. Okay, if you get the Tide, this is a gigantic kill. But where's the damage? They need a way to lock him down. Next Hoof Stomp should be enough for the Mystic Flare. He's got to use the Ancient Seal pretty early on. He's getting close to the tier 1 tower. And wow. And they barely tickled Vazir, honestly. They're coming.
They're even potentially going for the turnaround.
Puck's
Blink Dagger's
connecting.
coming out for the Tide, but it's a little bit... Ooh.
Nice silence. They got the Infest potential as well. They're going to try and blow up the Puck. He's out of range of the Mystic Flare, though. They can't group up for the Ravage. As Vazir finds all four under the tier 2 tower, but Dream, he's looking to enter the fight with the Terrorblade. Doesn't have the Metamorphosis, though, so there's no threat of Dream's damage output. Hellscream's going to be protected in the trees, and now Melrine as well is nearby. Turns to clean off the Bane. Curatich under the tier 2 tower still is trying to bring down, but great reactions with the Rage. They jump in and out. Hellscream not going to be under threat at all as Nemiga. What a fight.
A prize.
What a fight, and didn't even need so bad. He was just jungling the entire time on this position 5 Enchantress, really just wanting to get the Dark Troll Summoner available, and maybe even use that to put a little bit of lane pressure on for his team as well. And when you've got the drums at your disposal, why not?
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
So Bad's done a really good job here again. Pulled the creep wave, so his next wave is going to be able to connect. That should be the catapult wave as well. So someone's going to have to address this top side of the map, and well, that's going to be up to Menik, and Menik is really struggling this game on the Invoker. He's completing that Spirit Vessel. You were kind of mentioning if he was going to go down this route or not, considering it's not the greatest Vessel game, and maybe he's second-guessing himself, considering he'd love the Midas to be able to catch up.
I hope he is. Like, what's he got? No, he's got the recipe coming out. I mean, the thing is, he's got no charges, and I feel like if he got the Midas, then you have a very easy answer to the Enchantress, for example, if at the start of these team fights, if you're wanting to take it, right? Like, a lot of these creeps are doing a great job of just being able to split push and do a great job there. I really don't think that this Spirit Vessel is going to do all that much in comparison.
Archangel just waiting a little bit too far forward into the top outpost. Stream's going to have to get out of the neighborhood. They did have a ward scouting out the retreat of the Terrorblade. An item has been picked up on Curatich. Just gone the Desolator after the armlet. So, last hero is going to be in a bit of trouble here. Might be able to stampede away on... You could just blink away as well. Really nicely done. This is pretty deep on Nemiga. You got to respect the rotations. Oh, the control, though. It's a bit of an issue right now for NoSorry.
He's infested in the Tide, who has Blink Ravage.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Oh,
attack.
he's running a melee creep, actually. Let him go. Meow.
Oh. He was right on top of the Tide then.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
But
Yeah.
with no glyph, with Deso, with an Enchantress, with an armor creep, towers melt pretty damn quickly. This is exactly what they needed to do though on an Nemiga. We were talking about it in the draft. If this gets to like 35, 40 minutes and Terrorblade gets his farm, it feels like it's going to be incredibly difficult for them to be able to deal with him. But for right now, they won the lanes. They've got the better early game push. They haven't been able to make pickoffs occur with this Fiend's Grip Mystic Flare combination. But at least Dream is farming. He's keeping relatively level with the Lifestealer, and he's got the Manta style finished up for himself as well. So you're going to be able to get a little bit of that ghost push happening, not revealing yourself on the map and still using that to push in the lanes a little bit more in your favor and force a defensive response.
Yeah, and I think the big thing for the supports on NoSorry is just to protect Dream as best as they can. You see Archangels tried to do so, Observer Sentry placed by the top cliff, kind of by Roche. But the issue is that Nemiga have already got a really creative lane ward out by the top tier 1 tower, kind of the left side. So this is going to scout out a lot of these farming patterns from Dream. So he's going to be a little bit cautious about that. Maybe he's feeling too confident that they've got no wards nearby. And then next minute, Nemiga are closing onto the Terrorblade. So for me, though, I think Dire, they have their item really to kill Roshan. Like, you've got a Blink Ravage threat to take a fight. You've got Deso on Lifestealer to be able to secure Rosh. So I'm intrigued that they're not kind of posturing around that area. What do you feel like they're waiting for?
On Nemiga?
Yes. Maybe it's the Blink, I think. Yeah, he's got Blink, okay.
I think, he just got the Blink. So that's probably what they were waiting for. In the meantime, though, you've got this rotation coming through from NoSorry. And, I mean, if they pop the Metamorphosis, they are able to take Roshan pretty quickly themselves. It just depends on finding the right target.
See, we saw last time they lacked the damage. He's able to get out of the Mystic Flare. They're going to charge on forward, but they're doing no damage with Dream. He just doesn't have enough items to turn this around. A beautiful Nightmare trying to buy enough time to get the Sunder off. Dream finds a target, and it's on the Lifestealer. Oh, what have they done? Archangels are gone, giving Dream enough time with that Nightmare, and now they get the puck as well as NoSorry lose absolutely no one. That was a fight that came down just to some individual brilliance.
Oh, what are you doing tipping the Terrorblade, man? All he did was press Manta and Sunder. This is all Archangel, man. He got a great Fiend's Grip off. He got a great Nightmare to be able to interrupt all of that. He placed down the ward. Like, he just did everything in that engagement.
Oh,
and,
of course.
Well,
Double damage.
Get rid of the creep.
Radiant are scanning.
They're like, where's this Monkey King?
oh, even the Tide. I don't know if you can go forward here, my man. Black Archangel might end up finding you.
Oh my lord.
Big deal. That's a very big deal. I mean, win prob still only says 24%, but I feel like that is much more significant than what Mr. Gaben thinks.
That
gives him so much more freedom to farm aggressively, pick up that Skadi, and the game is NoSorry's for the taking.
That is game-turning stuff right there. That we were just seeing, though, they felt like they were in a position where they had the damage to kill the Tide. They barely tickled him, and all of a sudden, it could have been a disaster. Nemiga win that fight. You almost had the Terrorblade. You lead into Roche. You get the first Aegis. Then that's really what you need to get objectives. And then if you win the next fight afterwards, all of a sudden, Manic's not going to be able to scale because the Terrorblade's just dealing with all the side lanes, so your Invokers won't really have much involvement for the next 15 minutes. That was really the path to victory for Nemiga there, but that one lost fight now gives... This is just a farming Aegis. And maybe they can even fight with Skadi picked up shortly. Like, I feel like they could be in a position where you can force a fight. I feel like you don't want to be in that position as Mr. Centaur is going to be in a bit of trouble. Crimson Guard's an interesting item. We don't see it too often, and, well, they're still able to chunk him down through the help of the block.
Manic at least has been able to pick up that Midas for himself, so the scaling is potentially online, but he's not too far ahead of Sobad, the support Enchantress on the enemy team. They should be able to get this quick and easy kill onto Yond.
I was intrigued if Sobad, like, what his items were going to be, because we were saying maybe Nemiga could be lacking a little bit of damage. But I guess it's not like a position 4 Enchantress. We see like 4 Enchantress in Eastern Europe really like this scaling damage build. I mean, we got to see Roger play it 2 games in a row in the other series we casted.
He's here.
He doesn't have enough gold for Skadi just yet, but I guess they don't want to give this tower up for free.
Yeah. Don't want to give it for free. Don't want to glyph. He realizes that the team's nearby. He's got the Aegis. Just everything was lining up for Dream to be able to put his body in the way. Have to consider as well that you're going up as this Terrorblade against an Enchantress, so he can look to be a little bit annoying against the illusions.
much needed break in the action. Feels like we're getting ourselves set up for this next big fight to break out. Lifestealer was working on the Lincolns. I think he's actually almost got this completed. Just looking for the last component of the Voidstone. So it's going to be honestly, that's a huge item. Now, the only way to really to deal with him is the hoofs on to start, and maybe you can pop the Lincolns afterwards with that little bit of control, but protects you versus Sunder, versus the Ancient Seal, the Fiend script as well. So yeah, there's a really big item here for the Lifestealer to play with.
Not sure how I feel about Centaur's item build this game. Like, with the Crimson Guard, we've already mentioned that, but he's got a Shard queued up. And, I mean, that's only good when you've got a crap ton of strength, and right now he doesn't. Last time he had the Overwhelming Blink, he had a heart for himself. It's really not going to do all that much. You know, you're not going to pierce the Rage either. Doesn't pierce spell immunity, so really not seeing what exactly he's trying to get out of this Aghanim Shard for himself.
Dire are scanning.
Very interesting. I have nothing to base this off in regard to, like, I haven't seen other players and their build and when they're prioritizing the Ag side, because this is, I mean, it's pretty much a dead hero. I think, honestly, the only time I've seen it is just here and there in Eastern Europe. No one else is really attempting it.
Dire's structures are fortified.
We'll see. Maybe it's just... I was just saying, maybe it's something he just feels kind of comfortable with.
Healing power.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I can understand it, just not at this stage of the game.
Top tower has fallen.
Well, they end up getting a tier 2 tower with this Aegis on the TB. Still a minute and a half available on it.
That's just far away from the team.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Look at Jesus Christ, the damage! Look at the Ravage off as well. Puck is taking a bunch of damage to Dream, charging on forward in the middle of the fight. He has this Guardy freshly completed. Can they catch up to anyone though on NoSorry? Again, they are lacking some way to close the distance, especially with a... well, with a dead center and not really a farmed Invoker to be able to play up in their face.
How often do you see a Terrorblade go into a Silver Edge?
It's a pretty good Silver's Edge game though. Tired,
It is.
Lifestealer.
But the answer is not often though,
Yeah.
right? Like,
You're right.
how many times do you see this? Any kind of, like, illusion-based hero wanting to go for an item like that, but they're really feeling it, specifically
Dire's
with the
middle
Tide
tower
Hunter.
has
Like,
fallen.
they just need to take him out of the team fight, because he is the one providing them the positioning to be able to let the Lifestealer go around and right-click, to let the Puck be able to land a lot of the spells and silence the supports.
I wonder if he's going to go like Silver's Edge Bloodthorn, or like at some stage have a way to catch the Puck. He can also go Lincoln's next though, so maybe that's something you're not considering on Dream, because we did kind of say he has to be this right clicker. See, but
Yeah, I think you can rely on the Bane and the Skyreth to be able to deal with the Puck. It's going to be quite some time until he gets the Lincolns. He had it queued up previously, but he's gone back into an Octarine core. Speaking of Lincolns as well, Kiritich has it. He was tired of getting locked down in that one potentially game-changing team fight.
what's the call on Nemiga? They do have kind of a 2-3 split at the moment. Kiritich is threatening his higher ground, and they got Vajra as well moving over. Ravage is on cooldown, but Meta's on cooldown as well for the exact same duration. Jump in. Vajra's in as well, but can force to get out. Dream is cutting top though, so making sure at least some of the other lanes are pushed out, but they're probably going to lose their tier 2 tower.
Gotcha.
Dream.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen. Dire's
Where's
top
Hellscream?
tower is under attack.
Where are you, my friend?
Radiant's bottom tower is
Infest in
under
the Tide.
attack.
Gotta get the back.
Hellscream providing that vision. Wonder if they've had a look at his HP,
Dire's
realizing
top
that, well,
tower
that's
is
no
under
ordinary
attack.
Tide. He's also got the Lotus Orb available. Maybe just wanting to pressure into this bottom side of the map. They will have the meta to be able to deal with it. What's the vision looking like for NoSorry right now? Completely blind once they approach up onto that high ground. So again, Good positioning coming through from So Bad.
Look at Melrine as well in the back.
Scout this out. Yeah.
Run to Archangel. They drop the ward on the high ground as well to try and take the fight. Archangel might go down at the moment. They're targeting Vazia, but the Tide has an opportunity to get the Ravage off, but the damage is lacking because they're targeting Manic off to the north. As Stampede's able to reposition on the Invoker. It's a decent fight now for NoSorry. A lot is being committed, and Nemiga just split. They're able to get onto Melrine. A little bit too late with the connection to the right, but they've also found the Enchantress as well. It's beautifully done. Dream fights are doubled. They lose no one on NoSorry. That Stampede was huge from last year, just giving them enough of an opportunity to reposition and kite this Lifestealer.
They did get the buyback out of the Bane, but it was for... Yeah, obviously, he was able to rejoin. It completely took the puck out of the fight. A lot of the attention was just completely over towards these supports and wasn't really able to influence the damage side of things too heavily. Again, Nemiga, they are lacking damage. It's why this Enchantress is forced to go into much more of a right-click style of build. Grove Bow, you've got the drums, you've got the Dragon Lance available for herself, but it's just way too single-target focused. A TB is just going to rip through you, especially now that he's got the Silver Edge coming through.
Dire are scanning.
I said 35 minutes before TB becomes this like scary beast, but
Dire's bottom
with that
tower
fight
is under
turning things
attack.
around, it feels like Dream is going to reach that point. Well, honestly, now. Just needs the BKB after this, I feel.
Do you think one more item still? Because we have not seen, I think, the full threat of Nemiga's lineup with a... Like, we haven't seen the best Ravage into Infest and Melrine's damage in the middle as well.
I just feel like the BKB is going to be...
Oh, nice pick off. Really nicely done from Nemiga. And now Dream as well. Meta's on cooldown, so they can't turn the fight by their triangle. And, well, they're not going to be forced to do so, as Nemiga will not continue the chase.
He's going to be constantly checking around that Roche pit. Still a minute away. Ping's coming through from Black Archangel, but they are playing blind right now. Nighttime.
Nice jump. Stampede used defensively, but the coil just out of range. Oh,
nice Sunder.
Oh, alright. Sunder on Yon.
Realize how important it is to be able to play around this Roshan. He didn't have buyback on the Skywrath. So, very clever heads-up play coming through from Dream there. There we go. About time he gave the tip over.
Radiant's top tower has
I think it
fallen.
needs one item. I think there's still a window here for Nemiga. They can get this Roche, and if TB doesn't have meta, then there's going to be a bit of concerns on how they're able to close the distance, because NoSorry don't have the catch. Seen last year has really been using this Stampede more defensively instead of to jump some of the heroes. Bane hasn't had a game where we've seen him replicate the performance in game one of getting multiple solid Fiends grips off, so I think there's still some time for Nemiga.
Talisman of Evasion queued up on
Dire's
Dream at the
bottom
moment.
tower is under
Maybe just
attack.
wanting the Halberd against the Lifestealer. Gives it a little bit of that status resistance that's so valuable as well against a Tide and a Puck.
That's surely got to be Butterfly. You reckon is he going to go Halberd?
I mean, I don't like it, but maybe. I like Lifestealer is a pretty solid MKB builder, and he's even anticipating it as well. Hiratich just looking to build up into it next.
Might jump Vazia. See if they're going to have the damage for the moment. Dream is in with the break. The rest of the team, Suit to connect. He gets the Ravage off. They can turn to try and bring down the Bane. That's a dive back onto the support. Dream's in the middle of the fight, though. Meta trying to charge on forward. They don't have the Stampede for the moment. It's going to be up in a couple of seconds, but they're losing their numbers. Melrine's in with Assassination. It's only 3 on 5 now. They need to
They're
group
stuck
up.
in the middle.
They got to group up. You can't leave Manic solo. They're going to jump the Invoker. Oh, Dream recognizes this. Looking to connect.
Best bomb.
This is really awkward. You just lost your meta now. This should be Roche on Nemiga. Dream is in. Hang on. That's a lot of damage. It's a lot of damage. If they can kite Dream, though, meta's soon to expire. Wukong's going to control the middle of the fight. Silence. He can't get a Sunder target. Running around like a headless shook, but it will not matter. There we go. Nemiga still in it.
I think he thought he was Dream Coiled. He was just standing inside the Wukongs, running around in the silence and not really making full use out of the Stampede there. So they're Again, it's just one of those small plays that is going to result in a whole lot more. He even had the Aghanim Shard queued up previously on the Lifestealer, not needing it anymore. He just gets it from this second Roche.
Illusion.
This is one of those games where, you know me, I like spending my unreliable gold. I think it's a huge waste to not do it. I think if you're dying, then you're just giving up so much for free. But this is a game where you probably want to be holding on to it for as long as possible, because I feel like if Kiritich reveals any of these MKB components, you're going to be able to go away from the butterfly on the Terrorblade.
Archangel? I'm going to try and make the attempt at the Fiend script. I do see some numbers of Nemiga down to the bottom outpost, but with Hellscream playing behind Kiritich, they'll be okay. So all outer towers have been claimed. Sieging high ground is not going to be easy, though, into NoSorry. They've got a pretty good lineup to be able to defend. But, I mean, you're going to have multiple minutes where you can just completely control the map.
You don't feel like BKB is just the better item for the TB this game? Like,
no,
for TB.
What is he trying to protect himself with the BKB?
Who is dealing damage to him outside of the Lifestealer if he pops BKB?
Well...
Impetus won't do anything. Monkey really doesn't do much of anything. Tide doesn't do much of anything. Puck won't do anything. I think you just want to be able to stand there and fight. And that's what your Stampede enables you to do, as long as you're just not getting chain stunned and burst down. Like, the only reason he died that last fight was because he got silenced and thought he was coiled.
Dream? I wouldn't mind it next item. I think he has damage issues right now.
You reckon?
Yeah.
He does a lot of damage, man.
They kite him, though, and I don't think BKB is Archangel? Hang on. Oh, he didn't make it down. You just lost the Bane, and what about on the strike from Hellscreen? Lands onto Yonder Dream, a defensive Stampede, but Vaj is in with a combo once again. Lost hero! What a stomp! The Silence still with a coil. TB's gonna break it! Oh, we broke the coil! No! Doesn't have an opportunity for the Sunder, and now Nemiga. Time to pillage the base.
Bane's pushed out a lot. Will they... Oh, the glyph actually not available, so they'll be able to get at least a melee Rax. Going to go for the ranged, and with that Desolator and the AC, it looks like they'll be able to claim it for Nemiga.
You hate to force his buyback, I think. Do you just let 2 full sets go?
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, I think you're nearly forced to.
Melreen.
I really wish he had BKB, man.
Beautiful jump. Vaj is going to follow up as well. Bane's going to look to buy back. They're still holding the Terrorblades for the moment. Great reactions from Kiritich. Protecting himself with the Rage. Melreen again just making spaces. Kiritich is charging forward. They know the Terrorblades is not going to buy back with how close he is to respawning, so Nemiga will just get kill after kill as the Impetus damage coming from afar so bad. He's just pummeling them down. And now you're not going to have heroes to fight with the TB.
Yeah. They just...
What Dream's in. Meta pop the Alacrity as well, but there's no Centaur to follow with the control, so Nemiga, they're just running away. They are just running away. There's nothing they can do. And they can maybe double back. There's always a threat of that with this lane ward. They are happy with what they've got.
Don't need, though.
Dire's top tower is
Yeah.
under attack.
Lanes are pushing in. You could just wait for the meta to not be available and then go again. What's stopping you? I think he's got MKB completed now as well for Kiritich, so... Well, he started buying up the components of that butterfly, but 400 gold away from finishing it, it's just going to get immediately counted.
Gold for me.
Oh, what do you reckon the probability is looking like?
98. Oof, 100. Okay.
Oh, no, no, no.
I will die on this BKB hill, man. I swear he just needed it. He would have been able to just stand and man fight because lifesteal is not going to be enough. You're a physical damage core against a Terrorblade who has a crap ton of armor.
Puts them in difficult position now. Dream feels like he needs a lot of items with how far behind they are. This butterfly is not going to get a lot of effectiveness with that MKB, so see what the call is. Again,
Are scanning.
my TB can
Have
do
Dream
it,
Core
but
piercing magic immunity now as well.
oh
That's
boy,
another factor.
yep.
They only have one BKB, I suppose, but still, very useful tool to have.
Oh, look at the tide.
Raja.
He's in. Oh, it hasn't even reacted.
Are under attack.
Still meta on cooldown for another 45, so this is going to be mega
Radiant's
creeps.
top barracks has fallen.
Thinking he was very close to having just the 4-stuff in for the Ravage on the TB. Forced to go back by a salve, but in the meantime, you are getting megged.
Is the Hex completed on the Invoker?
Radiant's top
Yeah, mega creeps, and they're actually going to look to stay.
Feels like a little too much for them to have to deal with. I mean, level 20 on the Invoker would be nice, just for that little bit of extra movement speed, attack speed for the TB. But, yeah. It's just too little too late. Sky, Bane, pretty terrible at pushing out waves. So you're just stuck inside your base for the majority of this time.
Not going to be able to find these neutral items as well. T4's starting to be picked up for Nemiga. All the farm they would ever need. We've got the 25 as well on the lifestealer. 2 25s to be able to play with. It's going for that extra rage duration.
He's getting the BKB.
Oh.
He had the Hurricane Pike queued up. Honestly, you're going to get to a stage where, like, I don't know if they're going to give you a time to get it, so you might need to disassemble the Dragonlance and just sell the Bands of Elven Skin to be able to afford it. Might be what he does.
Yep. Looks like that's the call. Alright. What do they got? This Hex, I do not know if it has been scouted out. Manic's trying to make sure that it's by that tier 4 tower, so it could catch Nemiga off guard. Maybe they just play this one safe, wait out for this next Roshan. I mean, you've got the gem on Hellscream as well, so there's no vision that NoSorry can play with. Really?
Enchantress has a Moonshard.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Like, they're just like, alright, we'll just continue to farm. What's Tide got coming out? Oh, good. That's a really quick Roche respawn. He's got the shard coming out for himself. Not that he needs it.
Alright, so the ideal play for NoSorry is to smoke out with a ward, place one down around Roche. And even if you just get a ward down, you're happy with that, then you double smoke afterwards and look to play with the ward. You got the Terrorblade that can get the lanes in a decent position. But the issue is where Nemiga are. You never know if a Monkey King is nearby to be able to pop that smoke.
Can he get the lanes in a decent position? I mean, they're going to pop the smoke there on the Tide Hunter, but I mean, this is Megas. TB's going to be doing a decent enough job, but it's still something that you just need to be consciously aware of.
They're going for it. They have to. Last ditch attempt. Dream's got to be in. Alacrity'd out. Trying to target down the Tide Hunter for the moment. An instant use of the 4-star as Vajra is out of harm's way, but they're going to try and turn towards Enchantress, who doesn't have a buyback the high ground though. Archangel is so far away from the team. Cole's going to get laid down in the front of the pit, and Vajra jumps in. But great reactions coming through from Dream. Has an opportunity to be able to get the BKB up, but the damage still not coming in enough to be able to turn this one back around. There's always a threat of the Sunder. The Hellbird guiding Dream for the moment. He's trying to find an angle for this ultimate for the silence from Melreen, and they call it. We are going to a game 3 as the Nemiga tie up our first series.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire victory.
Very, very nicely done. Just taking advantage of a couple of mistakes. It was really Nemiga's game, though, right? They came out of that laning stage with like an 8k net worth lead. Really, really strong early game. And this time around, they were able to take advantage of it. They made one poor decision around the Roshan pit that gave NoSorry a sniff, a small chance, but yeah, it just felt like at those key moments, the wrong heroes were getting picked off at the very beginning. The itemization a little bit off as well. Crimson Guard didn't really feel like it did all that much this game for NoSorry. You also had Invoker going for that full Spirit Vessel, which, have a look at the end game screen if you get the chance to. He doesn't have it. He had to sell it just so that he could have an item that would actually do something. So I feel like it's good that you have these comfort heroes, but you can't just get in this cookie cutter mold that you go the same build every single time. You got to adapt with what the draft is actually going to be good against, and I feel like NoSorry didn't really do that this time around.
Yeah, and well, for Nemiga, they were the ones that were able to adapt. It's always important. I always like to be able to see games where the enemy team kind of go for a very similar draft, and the team that lost, they have the break time. They've got 10 minutes, a little bit more, to be able to work out what we did wrong, maybe heroes that we could look to change up. And well, it was 4 out of the 5 heroes that NoSorry were playing with. So Nemiga, really nice adaptation from them. We just saw that the Centaur really wasn't an issue in this game. You brought up his itemization, but you also brought up at the start of that game that they really need to try and shut him down, and they did that. Multiple kills early on. He just wasn't as much of a force in this game as what maybe they were hoping out of him. So we'll see if they're going to put as much emphasis on the Centaur in our final game of this series. But regardless, we are going the distance with Nemiga tying up this best of 3. We'll see you guys after the break.